Hey guys, Josh here from Fortitude, and today I'm going to go through a presentation or a little video presentation on nutrition for muscle gain. Okay, so a lot of the guys we work with get into obviously resistance training, strength training, and obviously part of that we want to kind of build some lean muscle tissue, sort of tone up, that kind of thing. So we're going to look at some of the most important things when it with regards to building muscle, okay, or toning up, that kind of thing. So, principles of muscle gain. Okay, so one main thing, okay, is that adequate protein is required to maintain or increase lean body mass, which is muscle tissue. Okay, so we need to increase our protein intake. Okay, so what does adequate protein look like? And adequate means what's enough for us to stimulate, obviously, the building of lean body mass or tissue, muscle tissue, that kind of stuff. All right, so leucine is an amino acid and it's found in protein, okay? And it's very important in building muscle. So there are lots of amino acids. I think there's around 20 something amino acids, and leucine is one that's really important for the muscle building process. So 2 to 3 grams of leucine is needed per serving of protein for the most optimal effects, okay? And the best source of leucine, where it's most prominent, is in whey protein, okay, which is obviously your traditional kind of protein powders. So this is on the left-hand side of this table, we've got the source. On the right-hand side, the serving size needed for that 3 grams of leucine. So the idea is, what they term it is breaking the leucine threshold. So if you break leucine threshold regularly, consistently throughout the day, and hit adequate protein over the course of a day, then that's going to be the most optimal scenario for situation you can be in to build muscle. Okay, so for example, whey protein to get 3 grams of leucine, you'll need 30 grams of whey protein. Casein, which is another form of protein. It's found in like milk and cheese, but also you can buy it as a supplement as well. And the serving size for that would be 40 grams of casein for 3 grams of leucine. Eggs, it's around about 6 eggs for 3 grams of leucine. 150 grams of chicken for 3 grams of leucine, and then 50 grams of soy protein for us vegetarians, for the vegetarians with us, for 3 grams of leucine. Okay, so that just gives you an idea of the amount that you'd need to consume to hit this leucine threshold. Now, obviously, just increasing your protein will have a beneficial effect when it comes to increasing lean muscle tissue. However, this is for like the optimal amount. So if you're really, really serious and you want to really focus on building muscle, then aiming to hit leucine threshold is important, okay? So in general, protein amount and frequency. So for optimal muscle gain, 2 grams of protein per kilo of body weight is required per day to put your body in an optimal state for building muscle. So, for example, an 80 kilo male or female would need around 160 grams of protein per day, okay? And this can be quite a significant increase on where most people are at generally. We tend to be quite carb heavy, fat heavy with our diets, whereas protein seems to be, maybe we eat a little bit, but certainly most people I speak to and work with or have worked with in the past don't tend to eat enough. So this is where it can be a bit of a, whoa, okay, cool. Regular servings of protein throughout the day are recommended. So, for example, 20 to 40 grams. That will depend on, obviously, lighter people, more towards the 20 grams, heavier people, more towards the 40 grams of protein per serving, around between 4 and 6 meals a day. Again, this is optimal. And again, this is kind of famed from like that kind of bodybuilder diet where they're having regular feedings, lots of chicken, lots of high protein meals and stuff like that. So again, we don't want to get too carried away on this. It needs to be something that fits your unique lifestyle preferences. So if you don't have time to eat 6 times a day, then don't eat 6 times a day. You know, you can still hit your adequate protein with it 3 to 4 servings throughout the day. So that could be kind of breakfast, lunch, mid-afternoon snack, dinner, something like that. Okay. So eating protein post-exercise is beneficial for promoting muscle gain. So there is some small benefit of sort of that kind of post-exercise protein window. It's not going to make a huge significant difference, but it does, when you're looking at really optimizing muscle gain, it will have slight impact. So that could be like your protein shake after your workout, or sort of going home after training and having your breakfast, which is probably protein-based, something like that if you train in the morning, or dinner in the evening, etc., or in the daytime, lunch, whatever. And then eating a slow release protein source like casein before bed supports a period of not eating during sleep. So basically that stems from if you're trying to kind of simulate this leucine threshold every kind of say 3 to 4 hours to kind of keep that protein synthesis going The idea is that when you're asleep, if you're sleeping for 7-8 hours, that's quite a long period with no protein synthesis happening. So whereas casein is like a slow release protein, so some people will have it at bedtime. You could put a scoop of it in some like yogurt or something like that, or you could just have a drink of it in a shake, and then before bed is kind of a way of combating that. But again, out of this slide, the most important thing, and one that you could probably take away the most, is kind of the amount of protein per kilo of body weight is the first thing to focus on. Then maybe the regular servings, how you spread it out, and then the other two are kind of like, this would be the next level if you're kind of really looking to optimize things. But initially, we're just going to focus on the total protein and the regular frequent servings. Okay. So other factors, so supplementation of creatine, vitamin D, caffeine, and fish oil have also been studied to also support muscle gain. So all good, safe supplements. Obviously, caffeine, obviously, you don't have to supplement. We can just drink some coffee and things like that. It's in a lot of stuff that we drink, tea and things. Eating a calorie surplus of around 200 calories per day is recommended as a starting point to build muscle. So obviously, we can still build muscle at maintenance, no problem. But being in a slight surplus will accelerate that a little bit. And it is also possible to build muscle in a calorie deficit, okay? So long as your protein intake is adequate, okay? So if we're looking at, if you guys are looking to lose weight and build muscle, the key factor is making sure you've got enough protein in. So you would do that by generally reducing your dietary fat intake, because fat's got the highest amount of calories per gram, whereas taking that away, you then replace it with protein. It's going to keep you fuller whilst in the deficit, plus it's also going to aid that kind of lean muscle mass, so you're not going to lose all your muscle when you lose weight, okay? But check out the nutrition for weight loss strategies for more info on that, okay, if that's more your goal. All right. Adequate sleep should be considered. So 100%, you could do all this stuff. You could take all the supplements, eat enough protein, but if you're not sleeping enough, that's going to have an impact as well. So sleep is super important, not only from like a recovery regeneration point of view, but from like a training intensity point of view as well, because you do need to train, which goes on to the last point. Training and exercise are very important. Like if you're looking to build muscle, if you don't train, resistance training in particular, and eat enough protein, if you don't resistance train but do eat enough protein, you're not just going to start building muscle. You need to train as well. We need to stimulate the muscles fibers to grow, and then eat enough protein to kind of feed that and replenish. All right. So training is so important. Okay. Probably the most important factor. And then kind of making sure we're eating enough protein, or more protein certainly than most of us are currently. Okay. Because that'll accelerate this process. All right. So in summary, 2 grams of protein per kilo of body weight is generally the goal to aim for. Now, you don't need to go from a lot less than this to that straight away. We can build that up over time. So more is better than none, okay, is kind of where I'm going with this. But aiming to hit around that figure is really, really useful. Aiming to kind of get that 3 grams of leucine per serving, if we're looking at really optimizing that leucine threshold, breaking leucine threshold, optimizing protein synthesis, which is the process of building muscle. Space out protein feedings throughout the day. So rather than just consuming just one source of protein at breakfast and then no more protein throughout the rest of the day, let's have regular protein feedings, because that's going to constantly stimulate that muscle protein synthesis and keep us kind of in that good state that we want to be in. You could think about casein before bed and protein post-exercise as an option. And that's just a way of increasing your protein, but also, helping get an extra serving if we're struggling with that. And then obviously consider increasing calories. If muscle gain is your sole goal, getting in a slight surplus is actually worth considering. So, it doesn't mean you're going to put on tons of body fat or anything like that. That's the whole point of being a very slight surplus. You're just going to help kind of that development. And, what you will find is that you'll probably accelerate your progress in the gym because you're more well fed. You're going to get stronger quicker than if you're in a deficit. Okay. But as also mentioned, it can be done in a deficit as well. So protein is key. Get enough of it, get it in regularly, and then that's how we're going to maintain our muscle, build some more muscle, and make sure we're getting closer to our goals. Okay. So just one final thing to add to this summary as well, guys. Please think, you've consumed this information now. The most important thing is that you go and actually take action on this, because there's no point just kind of listening to me waffling on about protein and then not doing anything about how you kind of increase your protein intake. So one thing I want you guys to take away and sit and think about now for 5 minutes or so is, where in your diet are you not consuming enough protein, breakfast is one for a lot of people, and then maybe like some snacks in the day. And what options can you think of that you could add into there? Okay, and if you're not sure of any protein options, then feel free to reach out to myself, reply to the email that this video is on, reply to me on Boxmate. I'd be more than happy to kind of exchange and share some ideas on ways I increase my protein intake that might work for you, especially from the point of view is my partner's vegetarian, so that's been obviously a challenge, is learning how to kind of get enough protein in, eating predominantly more vegetarian based food. So that's something that's been interesting and something to move around. But yeah, so I'm happy to help out wherever needed. All right, so have a great day, guys. Hope you found something useful to take away. Go and implement this, and let's all become protein monsters and enjoy the fruits of consuming more and getting strong. All right, so catch you soon. See ya.